Welcome back to Fade to Chat, Golden Age Cinema. In this episode, Cindy and I, we take on a holiday movie. I don't know if you take it on. It is such a beloved movie. It was a joy to rewatch it, although I probably watched it at least 30 or 40 times. Miracle on 34th Street. And the original, we're talking about 1947, not the 1994 version or 95 version with Richard Attenborough. This is the 1947 version. And recently, while working, I had the Richard Attenborough version on, and it's sad by comparison. I don't know if you, Cindy, have you seen
I haven't watched it. I'm not sure I want to because I read some reviews about it and I just don't think it would compare. And I love this movie and I want to have this movie in my head. So if you tell me I don't need to watch it, I'm not going to.
Well, you need to watch it like you need to watch a bad film every once in a while just to remind you about the good one.
The
I don't
good
think
ones,
it was.
okay.
I don't think it was bad. Actually, I dug
You
into
said
it a little bit.
sad.
Well, yeah, it was. It was a sad attempt at it because
Oh,
there's so
okay.
much joy in the version we're going to talk about. The acting is so good. The
Mm,
writing is so good. The script is on spot.
mm,
That when I watched when I watched the 94 version or 95 version of it, I'll have to look it up. I had that going on the side while I was doing some work and there was nothing compelling about it. So I looked further into it. John Hughes, famous John Hughes, the director and writer of all those teen movies that were
mm.
meaningful depth movies from the 90s, writer on that film. And I thought, man, this does not feel like a John Hughes film.
Mm.
Anyways, let's talk about something joyful.
Yes.
It's funny, it's sharp, it's surprisingly grounded in terms of its work, and it raises all sorts of great questions. Miracle on 34th Street, the 1947 version, it was directed by George Seaton, screenplay also by George Seaton,
Hmm.
and the story by Valentine Davies, and cinematography, Charles G. Clarke, editing, Robertson, music by Cyril Mockenridge, and that da 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 da, that violin
Mm,
kind of where the joyous
hmm.
parts happen. The
Yes.
music, I think, is also very central to the film. Stars
Agree.
Edmund Gwenn as Santa Claus, Maureen O'Hara, John Payne, Natalie Wood, and Jean Lockhart, who played the judge
Hmm.
in the film. It's black and white, although this was the first film that Turner tried to ruin and did ruin by colorizing it.
Hmm.
It was the first in the batch. So tell me your thoughts.
Well, this is one of my holiday favorites. Um, I enjoy this one even more than It's a Wonderful Life, which is another classic Christmas movie. Um, this to me, like you said, it's just so joyous and heartwarming, and it's everything a Christmas movie should be. It's one that you should watch with your family every year. Uh, it never gets old. The meaning behind it, I think, is timeless. And young Natalie Wood, oh my goodness, her performance. She is just, I just think she's amazing. Her the way she looks, her contact with the camera, her eye movement, her expressions, I think is just so spot on. She gives that little side eye, like, yeah, I don't believe you, and I don't believe what you're saying. And I just think this is one of her. I don't know if she's in any other movies as a young child. I've only known her as an adult, but I just think she gives an amazing performance in this movie.
Yeah, I was surprised. She's 8 years old at the time of filming
Okay.
the movie, and she does a remarkable job. She is trying to
Hmm.
play an 8-year-old that is acting like an adult, a rational adult.
Yes.
And
Yes.
so she's playing she's playing a stretch for who she is. And she did, I agree with you. She did a remarkable job. But
Hmm.
there are a lot of folks who did a remarkable job. I've got to talk about Edmund Gwenn,
Yes.
who is, well represented in the film and has, you read some of the background on this movie, and what you'll find is everybody loved him.
Hmm.
Everybody absolutely loved him on the set. And they said he was such a gentle guy and
Hmm.
so kind to all of the actors in the show that they often took lessons, like the janitor Alfred, the character that played Alfred. Alfred said that was his first film, and Edmund Gwenn took him aside and kind of gave him tips, helped him out. He was open to hearing from him. Just really
Hmm.
wonderful. Maureen O'Hara speaks of him in a way that's also in her biography very complimentary of Edmund Gwenn. It's sort of like after a while you started to believe he was really Santa. And it wasn't this character
Exactly.
actor kind of thing where he's
Exactly.
in the moment. It's not this crazy Jim Carrey stuff that
Hmm.
he can't get out of the character. It was who he
Who he
was
was. Who he
as a
was.
as a person. So
Hmm.
everybody just talked about how much they loved him. And I think he
Hmm.
becomes the quintessential. You can't look at Richard Attenborough, you can't look at other versions of the Santas and feel that this film's been done and feel any closer to Santa than with Edmund Gwenn. So,
I agree. I agree. And I believe that of course, they shot the movie in New York City during the actual parade, the Macy's Day Parade. And to see him in the streets of New York, I think before the movie started, he was walking down the streets of New York and just kind of getting the feel of everything. And I'm sure, everybody took a second glance at him like, oh, because he just, as you said, he just embodied everything that a Santa would be.
yeah, and part of it was also he was in makeup, and he would get in early because he didn't. That is actually not his beard. Although Natalie Wood pulls on it in
Right.
the movie, that's not his beard. But he went into makeup, and by the time he got out of makeup, that's all anybody ever saw of him in
Mm-hmm.
terms of him in a full beard. In fact, Natalie Wood thought he had a full beard and only recognized him that way. And the
Yeah.
story goes that he showed up at the wrap party after the movie was done without the beard, and then she finally realized, hey, that's not that. She didn't recognize him without his beard, and then kind of
Yeah.
realized he was
Yeah.
playing the character
Right.
of Santa and not really Santa. So
Yeah.
just an amazing performance by him in terms of this.
Great. So I had to look up who the drunk Santa was.
You and I did the same thing.
Okay. Because his voice,
It was
I
so
thought,
familiar. Yeah.
his voice, who in the world is he? All right. Who did you find him to be? I hope it was the same person.
Oh yeah, I think it is. I've got to go through pages here to
I
find
can
it.
tell you if you want.
Percy
Percy
Helton.
Helton. I thought,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, I loved that voice was so distinctive. And then of course I looked up what else he had been in, and the reason for his voice, he had been a singer, I believe, but he was in something where he had to scream for an extended period of time, and I guess another movie or something. He had to scream, and it damaged his vocal cords, and so he had to, he spoke like that for the apparently the rest of his life. But
Yeah.
that as soon as I heard his voice, I didn't recognize him, but as soon as I heard the voice, I thought I got to look him up.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
didn't recognize him in the Santa outfit. It was hard to tell
No,
who he was.
couldn't tell who he was.
Um, but then I recognized the voice. It's like, okay, I've got to chase this down. So I went through
Yeah.
IMDb, tried to find the drunk Santa, found the
Yep.
character actor, and then you look
Mm-hmm.
at pictures of him as he is older, and you
Mm,
see that he has. It's a character actor that you've seen in a lot of
yeah.
different shows.
Yeah.
He had a good run through the 70s and 60s. He appeared in over 244 different films or movies, and it was very. I'm trying to get back on this here. He had quite a career, and because of the voice. The
Mm-hmm.
voice made him sound like kind of a measly little guy, and he's sort of a measly, dumpy,
Yeah.
full-faced little guy. And again, you would
Yes.
recognize Percy Hilton if you looked at any of his pictures and watched any movies during or any television during the 70s,
Yeah. I
because he was
recognized the voice from TV. I think he was in Beverly Hillbillies. Um,
he was in Mission Impossible. He was in
okay.
Petticoat Junction. He
Petticoat
was just
Junction. Yeah.
he was
Mm-hmm.
used in a lot of roles.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, he has. He was Nanny and the Professor, Medical Center, Love American Style, The Good Guys,
Mm.
Green Acres, The Guns of Will
Yeah.
Sonnet, The Wild Wild West, Land of the Giants,
Wow. Wow.
The Virginian, Cimarron
A
Strip,
lot.
The Girl from Uncle, The Green Hornet, My Three Sons. Yeah, Perry Mason, The Farmer's
Wow.
Daughter, The Sons of Katie Elder. He was in that movie.
Hmm.
Yeah, just all over the place.
All
So
over. Yeah.
successful despite whatever throat injury he had as a
Yeah.
result of his stuff. So, what else about this film? I,
Well,
yeah, go ahead.
there was another actress that really came to mind, and that was Thelma Ritter,
Yeah,
Peter's mother, the little
that
boy
was
who wanted a fire engine.
that was her first role.
That was her first role. I recognized her. She was in Pillow Talk with Doris Day. She played the drunken housekeeper. Oh, she was great in that movie. Drinking with Cary Grant. She was in Rear Window as the nurse
Mm-hmm.
with Jimmy Stewart. And I think I read she was in Move Over Darling also as Grace Arden. I can't say I remember her. I haven't seen that movie in a while. That was another Doris Day movie. But I definitely recognized her, from Pillow Talk and Rear Window because I just watched Rear Window recently.
Yeah, so Thelma Ritter had quite a good career in terms of
Mm.
that, but this was her first movie,
Mm-hmm.
and it surprises me. Or her first, I guess, credited um, piece. It surprises me because she doesn't look like she's aged much. Through all the years, she doesn't look like a young Thelma Ritter. She looks like Thelma Ritter,
Yeah,
and
and that's how I recognized her. She looked
yeah,
way too old to have a child that age.
yeah.
I thought, really, that's just maybe your grandchild,
It might have
because
been
she
a
looked
poor,
exactly the same in her other movies. You're right.
yeah, that might have been a
Yeah,
poor decision in
yeah.
making those choices around that.
Mm.
Um,
Hmm.
Maureen O'Hara, what are your
Mm.
thoughts on her?
That was interesting. It was an interesting relationship between she and her daughter.
Hmm.
It was almost like they weren't mother and daughter. She wanted her to be so mature at such a young age. And you could tell from her conversation with, what was his first name? Fred, Gailey, that she had had a bad experience, being divorced, and that she hadn't found her Prince Charming. So I think it kind of soured
Yeah.
her against believing in things. And I think she didn't want Susan, her daughter, to be hurt in the same way she was. So she was protecting her in that respect. Like, don't believe in fairy tales and don't believe in this because, just if you believe in things that aren't true, you're going to wind up getting hurt. So it was her way of protecting her.
Maureen O'Hara was not pleased with getting this script when it originally came. She speaks volumes of it after doing the film,
Mm-hmm.
speaks
Mm-hmm.
so positively about it. And it's a film that remained dear to her heart. But she wasn't happy because she was returning to Ireland to, I guess, spend some time or some work there,
Mm-hmm.
and then got called back to the
Called
States.
back.
And she
Yeah,
didn't
heard
want
that.
to, have to be, make the trip back for a movie. She read the script and it's like, this is great. And then she was all in
Mm-hmm.
with the film. I think her acting was good and deliberate and probably better in other films that I've seen her in. She's much more on point in this film with it. As I said, she loved the film. She really
Mm-hmm.
liked John Payne in terms of apparently John Payne, who played Fred Gailey.
Mm-hmm.
John Payne bought the rights to the film, and he but his daughter disputes this story. He bought the rights to the film because he really wanted to be in this film. And at one point he was communicating with Maureen O'Hara that he really wanted to do a sequel to it, and she was all in on it. She
Mm-hmm.
wanted to do the sequel. And he apparently started writing a script himself for the sequel, but then passed
Mm-hmm.
away. I don't know if you
I
have
had
anything
heard.
to add to that. Yeah.
No, I had read that there was so much trivia with this movie. I mean, there was on and on and on about it, behind the scenes and everything. And I'm glad you brought that up because I had forgotten that part. But yeah, you are right about that. I don't know that I would have enjoyed a sequel because
Yeah.
the ending of this was so perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So, like, what are the
what
questions
more
you
is
have left?
yeah, what more is there to say? It was a happy ending.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he really liked the vehicle. I mean, and frankly, he has his own history in terms of work through films. But this is the one I think most people know him for
Mm-hmm.
when they recognize him. I
Mm-hmm.
noticed something in the film, and I don't know. It might have been my hearing, but everybody referred to Maureen O'Hara's character, which was Doris Walker, as Mrs. Walker.
Yes. Yes.
And
They never
that,
called her by her first name.
well, and also they
Well,
always called her Mrs.
that's true. And she had I looked at her ring finger. She had jewelry on her ring finger.
Oh, okay.
And I wondered too if maybe, from being divorced, maybe she just never removed the rings, but she definitely had I don't know if it was a diamond, but she definitely had jewelry on her ring finger. And you're right, they did refer to her as Mrs. Walker. And
Yeah.
I'm not sure he knew the whole when he was trying to get to know her and going through Susan to get to know her. And they were talking, and he said, about what do your mother, and father tell you about fairy tales? And she said, oh, no, my father doesn't tell me anything because they're divorced.
Yeah.
And he went, oh,
Yeah, and he
okay.
left when I was just a baby.
Yeah.
So, so the idea that she's wearing jewelry. Now, I know some
Mm-hmm.
actresses or actors will wear a wedding ring because they are not taking it off for a movie because they have that dedication to their real life
Mm-hmm.
spouse. In her case, could it be that that ring was sort of a way to
Mm-hmm.
surprise or a way to kind of work through the business world?
Hmm.
Like the husband was was still involved in some way. So for all perspectives at work, they called her Mrs. Walker. She had a wedding
True.
band, or she had a ring on her wedding band finger.
Right.
And this could have been part of the persona she has to keep in the work world.
And also, it could be to keep other men away. I know
Yeah,
women who do that. They wear a ring just to kind of protect themselves from,
right.
any other men. Can I bring up something you said about other actors, actresses wearing jewelry in a movie? This
Yeah,
is
sure.
way off our movie, but if you ever watch Hogan's Heroes,
Yeah.
I don't remember the guy's name. It's the one who was always making all the bombs and everything.
That doesn't narrow it down for me.
Well, in Hogan's Heroes, in his little group, it's the guy who was always making the
Yeah.
explosives and
Yeah.
always, for the trains to blow up and all. He always had gloves on, except for I
Uh,
think the very first show, because he had a wedding band on and he told his wife he would never take that wedding band off. So in every single scene, doesn't
he
matter
had
where they
gloves
are or
on.
what they're doing, he has gloves on.
Wow. That is that. Well, I'm glad
You're gonna have to
I
look that
was
up.
right in terms of that there are actors and actresses that wear that, because I saw that in a film I was watching
Okay, look that up.
lately, and it's like this person's not married as an actor. Why do they have their wedding band on? And I had to do like
Right.
right finger, left finger, right hand. Am I looking at this on? There was a big issue with Maureen O'Hara's character, Mrs. Walker, being divorced. That it
Yes.
received a rating from some moral
Mm-hmm.
society as it was considered instead of giving it an A rating, they gave it a B rating because it was quite
Yeah.
clear that she
Yeah.
was divorced and that was not considered
Mm-hmm.
morally appropriate for
Yes.
the film. So,
All right. So I looked it up. Larry Hovis,
okay.
that's the actor.
What, well,
What part did he play?
yeah, what part did he play?
I'm
The guy
sorry, I
who made
took
the
us way
bombs.
off here. The guy who made the bombs.
Yeah.
Uh,
It wasn't the French guy.
oh, no, 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 no. Um,
I think I know who you're talking about. I
you know who he
visualize,
was.
yeah, kind of
Oh,
goofy
Sergeant
look.
Andrew Carter.
Okay, still, I'm at a loss, but
Okay.
I think it's the goofy
Sorry.
looking guy. Yeah, that made the
Yeah.
bombs and made all the stuff.
Yeah.
Let's see who else.
Oh,
Gene Lockhart. Gene Lockhart also had
yeah.
he played Judge Henry
The
X
judge.
Harper, and he had a rather long and good life in terms of acting, and was actually in another Christmas movie prior to this, uh, the Dickens one with Tiny Tim.
Oh, Christmas Carol.
He was in a version of Christmas Carol. He
Oh.
played a major role in that. I think it was the
Hmm.
Alistair Sims one that he was part of.
And
And then
William Frawley.
Frawley, yes, William
Can't miss
Frawley
him.
was a
He's
difficult,
crafty. Yeah.
yeah, but also as an actor, he was not the most.
Mm.
He was difficult on the set. Let's just put it that way. I
Yeah.
mean, through Lucy, I Love Lucy,
Mm-hmm.
and through My Three Sons,
Mm-hmm.
there were lots of reports of him hitting the bottle quite a bit
Mm-hmm.
and being actively kind of a curmudgeon
Difficult.
outside of his
Yeah.
character. So,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
so yeah, interesting. just an interesting lineup of actors in here, well placed, well organized in terms of the process. So what else do we have on this?
Well, what was your favorite scene? And then I'll tell you what mine was. There's one that always stands out to me every time. I love this scene in particular.
Boy, you've got me. I think my favorite scene is the courtroom scene where he sets up the post office and the post office comes in and drops all the letters on his thing. However, that is not the ending of the 1990s version of this film.
Oh, really?
I mean, that is such a key point in the plot
Exactly.
that in the 90s version, they make a case that because he is being charged for this, that the system has declared him Santa Claus. So there's no kind of surprise reveal or trick ending in it. It's really anticlimactic. And that was like, guys, if you're going to steal the whole movie, and they didn't steal the whole movie, they put other parts in it. But if you're going to steal this film, at least steal the good part,
Exactly.
Steal the part that everybody's watching the whole movie for.
Exactly.
Because they've seen the other. Yeah. So that is my favorite scene. I think it's well executed. I think last week we did How to Murder Your Wife. My favorite scene was the courtroom scene. So maybe it's something about courtrooms.
Theme going. Yeah.
So
and the prosecutor's little boy, that was just priceless.
And apparently he ad-libbed the line because my daddy told me. Why do you believe that? Yeah. And
I didn't know that.
Yeah. There was.
Yeah, and he stood up from the box and looked at him like, "Right, Daddy,"
Yeah.
Of course,
I think that was a line he ad-libbed. Right, Daddy. He was also that actor was also very complimentary of Edmund Gwenn. And the last remaining actor in the film that passed away that was still around was Alfred.
He was in the remake as the doorman?
Yeah, that was the point I was going to make, but I can't find him in the IMDb listing. Oh, there he is. All right, so I'll pick it up.
Okay.
3, 2, 1. Yeah, the actor that played Alfred, the janitor who loved to be Santa, that was the scene that caught me right at the beginning of the film. His name, the actor's name was Alvin Greenman, was the last surviving actor of this version of the movie. Died in 2016, lived 84 years. So he lived to a nice ripe old age and had, some good credits, had, about 20, 30 credits to his name in terms of an acting career. He spoke highly, as I mentioned before, of Edmund Gwenn and how supportive he was in terms of that place. He also appeared in the 94 version of the movie Miracle on 34th Street. He was given credit and was the doorman in that film, and was called Alfred. They named him Alfred as the doorman in that film. So
I might have to watch that.
He might. Well, yeah. Again, you'll be disappointed in a good way. You'll be disappointed in a good way.
Okay.
Yeah. So he had an interesting career, and that first scene where he's talking to Kris, and there are little subtleties in the language, like he said, "Oh, that's a really nice suit that you have." "Oh, I've had it for many, 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 many years."
Yeah.
And do you play Kris Kringle often? He's like, "Well, yeah, I'm quite a bit."
Quite a bit, yeah.
And then he talks about the joy of Alfred talks about being able to be Santa and the
Mm-hmm.
joy of giving out presents at, I think, the YMCA or
Yeah.
a youth home. And he just you can get the real sense of the film.
Mm-hmm.
And Edmund Gwenn's reaction to him, you get the sense that he's seeing the joy of what people
Yeah.
can experience by being him, or just the holiday spirit.
Right.
So, yeah, you know,
I forget what if it was. I think it was Prime Video I watched this through. And there's a thing that comes up on my TV. It says watch with X-ray. And
hmm
it will tell you about the different actors and actresses. So like if I don't know who someone is, like right away, I just clicked on it and it told me who they were and different things, which I thought was really interesting. It's a quick way to find out about the movie while you're watching it, called X-ray. I don't know if
yeah,
that's on
no, it's not on.
everything.
Unfortunately, it's not on Apple TV. I watch all my stuff through Apple
Mm,
TV, and I
okay.
wish they would put it on there. I wish they put some sort of contextual search
Hmm.
when things come up, because I do
Yeah.
like that about. I think
Yeah.
Netflix does a similar thing, that you
Yeah, I
can
think
just
you're
pop
right.
up a side
Hmm.
column, and it tells you
Yeah, you
what's
can just
going
go
on or
over
who's in
quick
the
and then come
scene.
back.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So the
What's your favorite
courtroom.
scene? Courtroom.
Um, no, I mean that's probably it's a tie. I love the courtroom scene, but the
Yeah.
bubble gum with her chewing the bubble gum at night, and it reminds me too of being a little girl. I didn't chew gum a lot because I had braces, but my sister did all the time, and we shared a room together. And you didn't throw away your gum when you were finished. Like that piece of gum
hmm
lasted forever. And she's right. You would take that gum out and you'd wrap it in a piece of paper and you'd save it for later. And that's exactly what she did. She put it in her nightstand. But I like the scene where there were two different bedtime scenes where Kris Kringle is talking to her. And the one he wanted to, find out what she wanted for Christmas. And she said there really wasn't anything she wanted, her mother. And she always called her mother, mother, until the very end of the movie.
Yeah.
And at the very end of the movie, there was that shift, and she started calling her mommy.
Yeah.
And her mother always called her Susan. Everyone else called her Susie. And then towards the very end of the movie, as they both started to believe, she shifted and called her Susie. But anyway, back to the bedtime scene. He sings her a nursery rhyme, to market, to buy fat pig. I thought that was sweet. But she's always lying in bed, blowing these big bubbles, and cracking them with her bubble gum. And the one time she blows this really big one and cracks it, and he says, "Wow, that's amazing. Do you happen to have a spare piece?" And she gets in her nightstand and gets out an extra piece for him. And, they show it putting it in his mouth and chewing, 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 to get it soft, and then blowing this bubble. And then they cut to her. She's watching him blow this huge bubble, and all you hear is this smack, this crack when it
Yeah.
pops. And then the next scene, he's picking it out of his beard with tweezers. I don't know, something
And
about that, I guess, because
you see
it
the
just
expression on
reminds
her
me of a little
face.
girl.
It's
Yeah.
like you're not seeing the bubble from his point of
No,
view. You're seeing the bubble
no.
from her point of view.
You
And
know
then
what
the
happens.
smack,
Mm,
and then she kind of closes her eyes
yeah,
and
like,
opens
oh
them a little
no,
bit. And it's
yeah,
like, oh no. Yeah.
no. And then he's picking it all out with little tiny tweezers. And I thought, oh my gosh. Because we used to, I'll go back to school for a minute. I have had experiences back when I was teaching. Of course, kids weren't allowed to chew gum in school, but they did anyway. I had a little girl come up once, a piece of gum stuck in her hair. And
Right.
she said, would you cut this out of my hair? I'm like, heck no, I'm not touching your hair. You go home and let your mom take care of that. She's like, well, just get a pair of scissors and cut this out of my hair. Like, no, no, no. I said,
Butter.
I'll send you to the nurse. Hmm?
Butter. Don't you know butter gets it out of the hair?
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I didn't have any butter in the art room.
Yeah, I didn't figure you would, but
I didn't keep
that was
butter in the
the
art room.
that was the way to get it out of hair. Now then you had to wash your hair afterwards because your head was all full
Yeah,
of butter, but it was the best way
didn't
to
know that.
clear it out. Boy,
But
the stuff we learn on a movie show.
exactly. But I thought that was a great. I that again. That was just a heartwarming moment between the two of them. And
Yeah.
then she's showing him, and he finally says, really, what do you want? And she says, well, I don't think you can get it for me. And he says, well, tell me what you really want. And she pulls out the photo of the house. And he says, well, a doll house? And she says, oh no, I want a real house. And she doesn't like where she's living. He said, well, you live in a very nice apartment. And she said, oh, I don't think it's nice. She said, I want a real house, with a big yard and a swing in the backyard. And then he asks, of course, if he can keep that picture. And he said he'll do his best. And it was
I'm
just a
so glad
very sweet moment between the two of them.
I'm so glad you went down that path about the house because sure
Mm-hmm.
enough, I found the house.
Mm-hmm.
And you know how I told you how I like to find and use addresses,
Mm-hmm.
and I did find a street view picture of the house. So those of you who are watching this on
Okay.
video, you get to see the street view picture of the house. It's 24 Derby Road in Port Washington, New York. And I have no idea about New York geography and whether that's even on the way to the job because they said in the film Fred talks about having with Kris and saying, "Oh, and Kris is like, oh, you need a nice little house out in this area
Long
because it would
Island.
be good for yeah."
Mm-hmm.
And so this is Port Washington, New York, and there is the picture of the house
That's
as
it.
it currently stands.
Mm-hmm.
And they have not done much to it to change it or affect it, except they put a dormer on the top. So
Mm.
there's a second floor window that comes out, but this is the house and its location as it currently stands. And I
Yeah.
wonder
And those
if there are any other crazies like me who would go up and knock on the door and go, "Hey, Miracle on 34th Street."
I think there are, because the people who live there are pretty well aware that it was the house in the movie.
Yeah, yeah.
And people go by and take pictures all the time. Even the steps, they didn't change those steps that she ran up.
I guess not.
But I believe the exterior of the house is the same, but the interior shots were done. That's not the actual interior of the
No,
house in the movie,
no,
but
I
the
don't think so.
exterior is. Yeah. I guess it's just like oh, what is it? A Christmas Story, which is not in our time frame, but
Yeah,
that's a real house too that somebody bought.
yeah. And Home Alone, the Home
Yeah,
Alone
Home
house is
Alone.
also
Hmm.
a real house.
I figured you would do that. I thought, well, if I don't do that, Marty will do that. He'll look up that
Yeah.
house. Yeah.
So some fun with that.
Yeah.
Any other things that you have in terms of your notes?
Well, just as a little side note, my dad, he used to work for the post office.
Mm-hmm.
And so the scene where they're sorting letters, of course, that was a long time ago, but he started out when he first started, he was sorting letters, and he used to come home and practice sorting them and throwing them into the different cubbies and all. I thought that was interesting to watch them sorting them all. And it is correct that they don't deliver mail to, it has to go to the right person. And when I was a little girl, it is a crime to take a letter from someone's mailbox, and you just cannot put a letter in someone's mailbox. That's not something you can do. But anyway, I looked up what do they do with all those letters that are addressed to Santa
Ah,
nowadays. And the U.S. Postal System has something called Operation Santa. And all the letters that are written to Santa, regardless of the address, um, they have this program called Operation Santa. And there are over 49,000 letters that were adopted this year. It was up from 33,400 letters in 2024. So children are still writing letters to Santa, and the post office takes care of making sure they get delivered.
Yeah, my brother worked in post office for some time. He was a truck driver for early part of his career, and then switched and got a postal route, and then
Mm-hmm.
worked in the post office sorting letters, and in a smaller post office than New York City, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's an interesting to watch how that is done. And there were other films that show letter sorting. I can't remember what it was, but it was a kind of over the shoulder shot. I remember from a film where they're doing the sorting in different bins and how things happen. So yeah,
Yeah.
interesting process. And Jack Albertson was also another
Oh,
character
yeah, yeah.
actor. If you look up Jack Albertson, you'll find that he
Mm-hmm.
was in quite a bit,
Yeah.
and he was in this movie as the mail sorter
Yeah.
in the
You're right. I
movie.
forgot about him.
God, there's so much trivia for this
Yeah.
film.
Oh, there is. There is.
Um,
And you always talk about your favorite quotes. Any
yeah,
from this movie? I had a few.
you start.
This is just, again, this is kind of silly, and I don't know why it just kind of struck me. But in the beginning, where they're watching the parade, and that great big baseball player goes by, and um, Fred Gailey is talking to Susan about, oh, he's a giant. And she says, oh, no, there are no giants. And he goes into the whole fairy tale thing, and no, 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 there are no giants. And he says, well, you must have heard of Jack and the Beanstalk. And she's like, no, 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 my mother doesn't tell me, fairy tales. And he again said, well, I think that baseball player is, pretty, looks like a giant. And she looked at him with a straight face and said, people sometimes grow very large, but that's abnormal. And I thought, such a profound thing for a little girl to say. It just, she was just so mature and so grown up for her years. She apparently was only in second grade when he asked her. He said, are you in first grade? She said, oh, no, I'm in second. I'm in a very progressive school.
Progressive cool.
Very progressive school.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
there are a couple of lines, and this one kind of gets me. It touches my heart.
Okay.
And it's faith is believing in things when common sense tells you not to.
Not to. Yeah.
And, that's
Yeah.
said by Fred and then later said by Maureen O'Hara's character
I
to
had that
Susan.
written down too.
And then Mr. Shellhammer says, but maybe he's only a little crazy, like
So
painters or
crazy.
composers or some of those men in Washington.
I had that one too. That's the first one I wrote, second one I wrote down. I thought, yeah,
Yeah.
painters, like the crazy artist. Yeah. And those men in Washington. Oh, and then he asked her, Kris Kringle says, you know what imagination is? And she says, oh, yeah, sure. That's when you see things, but they're not really there. And he said, well, that can be caused by other
The other
things too.
things too.
Of course, that went right over her head. But I thought
Yeah.
that was a fun one. Another scene that I thought was very heartwarming was that little Dutch girl.
Yeah.
The little Dutch girl. And the mother said, she won't understand you because she just came here, and she won't understand what you're saying. But he spoke Dutch to her, and Susan's watching from, behind the scenes. And I think that was the first time she kind of questioned, like, oh, maybe he really is Santa.
Yeah. And then the line where she says, I speak French. That doesn't make me Joan of Arc.
Joan of Arc.
I, yeah, that one, for me watching this film, and I haven't watched it in a while, for me
Mm-hmm.
watching it and prepped for the show, there's that initial reaction to Alfred, which I find kind of touching. That kind of hooks me into the story. And then,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I get a little touched by the Dutch girl
Yeah.
story that happens. And the thing is, I took years and years of German to no use whatsoever. And German is very close to Dutch. It's almost
Mm-hmm.
Dutch sounds like High German, or what they refer to as High
Right.
German. And so it's kind of fun when I can run into stories that use German and I can understand enough of it to figure out what they're talking about without the subtitles. And I could tell, oh, ich bin Santa Claus, you are, or du
Mm-hmm.
bist Santa Claus, you are Santa Claus. But the rest of the story apparently is Santa asks her what she wants for Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, oh, I've already gotten it. I've gotten an adopted family.
Yeah.
And, to kind of fill in the backstory of her coming over as
Mm-hmm.
as an adopted child from the Dutch. And I don't know how that fits in. If it was maybe post-war, that she was in
Mm-hmm.
an orphanage because this was 1946, 47 when the
47.
film
Yeah.
finally came out. So it would have been post-war that those kind of adoptions occurred. But yeah, that
Mm-hmm.
gets me.
Yeah.
That
That
gets
that
me
was
all the
sweet.
time. Um,
That's very sweet.
well, Edmund Gwenn, which surprises me, he won Best Supporting Actor Oscar. If he's the supporting actor, then who? I guess it would have been
Hmm.
Maureen O'Hara or John Payne. Uh,
Right.
but he won for Best Supporting Actor, and his quote was, "Now I know there is a Santa Claus."
Mm-hmm.
That he got that. Um, there were other awards that were given for directing and writing that they won in terms of. Let me go back. Um, that they won. They won 3 Oscars: Best Supporting Actor, uh, Best Writing Original Story, and Best Writing Screenplay. And nominated for Best Picture, but it didn't win,
Mm-hmm.
which makes me wonder what won. The winner was The Lost Weekend that year with Ray Milland.
Hmm.
Um, there were other movies that came around this. In 46, they did another Christmas film, and in 48, they did another Christmas film. And those were also nominated for Best Film. So the other 2 films was, of course, It's a Wonderful Life. I think it was a
Mm-hmm.
1947 release. And then, or 46 release, I can't remember. And then the other film was Bells of St. Mary.
Mm-hmm.
And that was 46. So you've got these 3 movies that were all nominated for Best Film and didn't win, but Christmas themed and considered kind of classics around Christmas movies in times of all that they did.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
All right,
um,
Marty. So I have a question for you,
yeah.
and I purposely didn't ask you this off camera. I wondered what you thought of I don't remember his name, the gentleman who played the psychologist.
um, yeah, I thought his characterization was perfect, and there were little subtle things like um, his receptionist or administrative assistant or secretary.
The,
She's twisting her eyebrow like he twists her eyebrow when he gets nervous, and
yeah.
he's calling her and telling her to do this stuff, and she's sitting on the phone and twisting
Uh-huh.
her eyebrow like he does. You know, it. it is it's a well-written character, but it is a character
Mm.
in the sense that there are folks who overextend themselves in terms of thinking of what they can do. He's working basically to assess appropriateness of employees in a business, in a large business. So he's not seeing patients, he's not actively involved in clinical work. And as a result, he overextends himself in terms of trying to do work with Alfred because he wants to be doing something more than just looking at employee evaluations and giving
Mm.
employee evaluations. He's flawed. He has his own concerns about his abilities are in question. So
Mhm.
he tries to overcompensate with that in ways.
Mm.
So yeah, I was, but again, it's a caricature, and unfortunately, most people in mental health, they and when they're depicted in media are depicted in ways that are really not very accurate
Not
as to what they do,
flattering.
and
Right. Like
not
the
flattering.
classic line,
Yeah,
I was told I hate my father. I thought, yeah, isn't that the
yeah,
classic line? They always say that.
yeah, yeah.
But the twisting
So
of the eyebrow, I thought that was
yeah,
that was a fun part. Yeah.
yeah. So he was flawed, and that plays out in the movie. I'm glad you asked me about the psychologist. I wouldn't have thought to bring him up, other than I think he depicts it well. I was watching him in the scene where he was between Maureen O'Hara and John Payne. He's sitting up there for getting hit in the head
Mm.
with Kris hits him in the head with
Okay.
his cane, and they're really close in proximity to each other. And he's got his head turned directly at Maureen O'Hara, and she's going on, and I'm watching him kind of follow her, and
Mm-hmm.
his mouth is moving a little bit as she talks, which is
Mm-hmm.
how he's encoding what she's saying or how he's getting what she's
Yeah.
saying. But that was a
Yeah.
tight shot for the three of them, and I thought that must have been kind of weird to be an actor and be in the middle of that so close and being framed that way in it.
Yeah.
But yeah, he did a fine job.
Yeah. But then there was the good doctor too.
Yeah, the
So I was
gerontologist.
glad of that.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah,
Glad to see that.
and and his depiction of what mental health is in terms of older folks, and the
Hmm.
kind of side joke that Maureen O'Hara said. The person who believes he's a Russian prince
Hmm.
and he leads a successful life, and nobody really challenges that. There was a restaurant, I think it's called Rachmaninoff's in
Hmm.
Hollywood, where all of the actors at that time used to go around, and the rumor was that the guy believed he was a Russian prince and descended from a
Hmm.
Russian prince, although that wasn't true. But he used
Yeah.
that title for the restaurant. So,
Yep. I looked that up too. I had no idea what they were referring to.
yeah.
So yeah.
Anything else on this movie?
Oh, just that I'm glad we chose it. I think it's one you should always watch at this time of year with your family or not with your family. It just brings back such good memories, and I just think it's one that is timeless and highly recommend it.
Yeah, I haven't watched it in a while. I have a tendency to stay away from Christmas movies because I've seen so much of them so many times.
Mm.
And sort of a holiday tradition that we would have when the kids were young was we would, Christmas Eve, we'd go to church, come home, have pizza,
Mm.
and watch a movie. And the movie we always watched was White Christmas, which is a
Mm.
musical. And it's got some remarkable scenes in it, remarkable songs, choreography,
Mm-hmm.
some jokes, some kind of, you know, do people still eat liverwurst sandwiches? I got them as a kid occasionally,
Ooh,
but
no.
yeah, I know. And actually, can have that taste. I can still remember that taste.
Ugh.
There's all sorts of things in that movie that we had fun with until the kids got too tired or the kids got too bored. And
Mm-hmm.
as we watched it every year, they got bored as they got older and older. They got bored and tired much quicker. Well, I think they got bored.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they got tired. So that kind
Yeah.
of fell off of a tradition. Then, of course, it's always It's a Wonderful Life. But
For life.
this one is just a great film to watch. And I'm glad you chose this so we would be able to watch it. I'd be able to watch it again deliberately
Yeah.
to kind of look at it
Right.
and
Right.
watch it because it is a good film. I can't Anybody who listens to this, I can't imagine they haven't seen this movie, Miracle on 34th Street from 1947. But if you have watched it in the past, watch it again and watch it intently to look at some of the nuance in the film and just enjoy
Mm-hmm.
Edmund Gwenn's kind of joy of being who he is, which is Santa Claus. So,
Yeah.
since we're on this holiday thing, the question that we had before the show was, what are we going to do next movie?
Mm-hmm.
And the next movie, when are we going to do it? And we're going to try and do another show next Monday, which puts us
Mm-hmm.
right before the New Year's holiday. So we
Mm-hmm.
decided to try. I tried to find movies that were holiday New Year's movies that fit within our range, and got some weird ones back in searches,
Mm-hmm.
and then did another search, and we fell into another Jack Lemmon, Billy Wilder film with Shirley MacLaine called
Mm-hmm.
The Apartment. Another sort of must-have film. Everything kind of builds to New Year's Eve and New Year's, and so that fits within the genre of a New Year's film. So
Mm-hmm.
next episode, we'll be looking at The Apartment from 1960, sort of closer to the tail end of what we were going to do.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll be looking at that and giving you some understanding. If you haven't seen that movie, by all means, see that film. So well written. It's got Jack Lemmon, Shirley MacLaine, and Fred McMurray. Fred McMurray playing sort of a evil boss role. I
Mm-hmm.
think Fred got tired of playing the congenial male and started doing things like Double Indemnity, which he plays that's a film we should watch sometime.
Mm. Okay.
And he plays a really kind of sly bottom feeder
Mm.
insurance person in that. And then in
Mm.
this film, he plays kind of I don't know, what
Yeah.
would you call him as a boss?
Uh, I'm gonna have to think about that. He's not necessarily a good person by any means.
No, he's
No.
not at all. And he's, hitting on Shirley MacLaine and has a
Yeah, and
wife and
making his
kids at home.
employees do things they shouldn't do, and
Yeah,
yeah, puts Jack Lemmon in a very bad position, and
yeah.
yeah, not a good guy.
So, Jack Lemmon wants he's a Manhattan insurance clerk, tries to rise in the company by letting executives use his apartment for trysts. And that kind of is the storyline. So we'll look at that next time. Any
Okay,
final
great.
words that you have? I hope you have a good holiday. I hope you have some
I hope you
nice
do as
time
well.
planned. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to get together with my sister and her husband tomorrow, and then my boyfriend and his sister and her boyfriend again on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, and then hopefully I'm going to relax a little bit and prepare for the next movie and do some homework for that. And I
Don't do
keep
too
saying
much
I love
homework on that.
it's not
But
homework. I love it. I'll
yeah.
probably start it today. No, I'm looking forward to it. That's a great movie. Shirley MacLaine is wonderful.
Hmm.
I look forward to seeing that. And again, I hope everyone has a safe holiday. And you'll probably have some snow. We might get a little
I
bit. I don't.
I don't know. It's supposed to get too warm for snow. I
Oh,
think we're going to have
really?
overcast and rain. Yeah,
Oh,
at least the last time Aileen checked, that's what
okay.
she
Okay.
said. I'll have to look again.
Yeah.
We're
Yeah.
going to have my son, who I do another podcast with, Gear Up
Mm,
and Go, and you met him at Macstock, I believe.
yes. Yeah.
He is coming over with his fiance. They're doing New Year's Eve with her family at his and hers house.
Mm,
And so they've kind of cut us out of or not New Year's Eve, excuse Christmas Eve. And
mm.
we're going to be they cut us out of Christmas morning because they're going to still be in recovery, and they're going to see they're going to see the grandmother at her place. And so
Mm,
ours is going to start a little later than we usually do, around 2 o'clock. I'm
mm.
cooking a turkey, and we're
Oh,
doing the
that's good.
fixings for that because I like cooking for folks. And my daughter will be coming over with her boyfriend sometime in the afternoon. She's got the whole day free, and so she might be in and out throughout the day. But we'll
Mm,
celebrate a little later
yeah.
on Christmas than we normally do. So Aileen and I'll have kind of a quiet morning with coffee
Oh,
and
good.
whatever we're going to
Good.
have. So,
We cook out on the grill. We do steaks on the grill Christmas Day. Doesn't matter how I don't cook
can
them
I
out.
can I come, please? Can I come
Yes,
over?
we do. We do steaks and crab cakes.
Oh,
Isn't that a good combination?
when I
Mm.
lived in Ocean City, Maryland, we used to get Alaskan king crab legs
Phillips,
for Thanksgiving. Yeah, well,
I
we'd
didn't
go
know
to
you lived in
Phillips, but
Ocean City.
oh
Phillips,
yeah, I
yeah.
worked in radio there for a couple of years, or year and a half or
Wow.
so, and we used to for Christmas go get crab legs,
Yeah, they have the
Alaskan king crab
best.
legs, and uh,
Hmm.
and kind of show them to people who lived in cold Chicago. That we were eating crab legs for Christmas. Enough about
Yeah.
that. Let's. Thanks for joining us on another episode of Fade to Chat Golden Age Cinema. You can subscribe to us on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/@fade to chat. You'll find all the previous episodes of the show there. You can also email us your thoughts at the podtalknetwork@gmail.com. Join us next time as we take a look at the apartment and we explore